want you, the listener, to picture a classic ivy-draped classroom. It's 2017 at the Royal Cambridge Scholastic Institute. And standing at the front of this room is Professor Erasmus Cromwell-Smith. But on this specific day, the script is entirely thrown out, the students are sitting there, and the professor reveals he has just received a terminal brain cancer diagnosis. And instead of taking a leave of absence or, retreating, he makes two immediate resolutions. The second one is that he decides to spend his remaining time in that classroom, sharing 50 years of his most treasured lifelong secrets.
He's basically trying to hand them a survival guide for the human condition, and he's using poetry as the vehicle to do it.
And the thesis is that our emotional life is identical to a circus performer walking a tightrope.
A thin and narrow, yet incredibly solid wire.
And the source text identifies these filaments of our emotional wire as our feelings, our faith, our friends, and our family, which makes so much sense because when a sudden crisis hits like a terminal diagnosis or a financial collapse, a single iron bar might just snap under the torque.
Morris's concepts. The tiny little flame of resilience. We usually think of resilience as this thick brick wall we build around ourselves, so we don't feel pain. The professor is arguing that resilience is essentially a pilot light at the deep ends of the heart.
The balancing stick that tightrope walkers use, and the professor identifies this pole as love.
He essentially asks, is this stick of love actually a stabilizer, or does it just create its own set of challenges?
Because let's be honest, love is incredibly complicated.
It causes a lot of our emotional wobbles in the first place.
So Liam's inquiry forces the professor to explain the actual physics behind the metaphor.
A tightrope walker's pole works precisely because it is heavy.
Right, a long, heavy pole lowers your center of gravity.
Emotionally, love functions the exact same way. Yes, it's a massive weight, but that weight anchors you. But, and this is a massive caveat, you have to hold the pole correctly.
She asks how inner freedom is even possible when you're on this perilous wire, completely surrounded by external negativity. The naysayers, the critics, the people just shouting from the ground while you're trying to balance.
If your environment is toxic, simply being told freedom is a state of mind feels incredibly dismissive. Escaping the burning building is step one. But the architecture is incomplete without inner freedom. But the master acrobat performs these impossible feats because they have conditioned their nervous system to trust their own movements over the noise of the crowd. So at this point in the lecture, the framework moves from poetry into pure structural engineering.
Right. The professor literally projects a geometric figure onto the screen. The happiness triangle.
This is his ultimate functional blueprint for a human life.
So let's analyze the architecture of this triangle for you, starting with the base.